Hello everyone, welcome to my video. In this video I will be going to DUNA, which is Mars NKSP. So let's get started. Here you will see my build. My build basically is an orbiter lander ship. So here is the lander. I've added some parachutes to the main pod. Also some solar panels to get electricity, a fuel tank, the Terrier engine, very efficient in space, and also I will be adding some more fuel tanks. These tanks are for fuel, but also to make the base more wider, and in doing that, it will be easier for me to land. The landing legs right here. Then I've got my ladder for my astronauts to climb down and up, and those are the RCS tanks. You'll see what RCS is if you don't know what it is. I'll be using it a lot, especially in my docking. And now the RCS thrusters, and some batteries for electricity. And now the last stage is basically the docking port, but it's got a shield above it for aerodynamics. We'll be using that in our docking. That's my lander done, and now to the main pod part. I will be using a Mach 3 command pod, and here are the parachutes. That's a heat shield, a decoupler, and I'll be adding some fuel tanks. For this, I will actually be using the NUV atomic booster rocket. So we'll be using Mach 1, so the small size fuel tanks. I'll also be adding some more fuel tanks, so 4 of them, and aerodynamic just nose cones. Below that is the fairing. I'll be building that after I finish everything. So that's basically the top part of my ship done. And now to the part where it gets me into Kerbal orbit. I've added Rhino engine and the Mammoth engine. These are 2 very powerful engines. Here I will be adding some side boosters to make my ascent quicker, but also to just get more fuel. So for these fuel tanks, they're actually going to be directed to the main engine. So once I decouple these side boosters, my Mammoth engine, so the big one, will be full. Thus, we are not carrying extra weight or anything. Nose cones for aerodynamic. Just me adjusting using the place tool to adjust these side boosters. And also the side boosters are going to be using the vector engines. These are very powerful engines for the first stage, which is right when we launch. Here I am just auto strutting everything together so it's stable. And I think now I am going to do the fairing, which will cover all the things I've done in the very top stage. Here I'm just editing my fairing. And I think we are done. Actually, I just edited it more. I wasn't really happy with the shape of the previous one. Here I am also just auto strutting everything together so it stays in shape. Here I am adding the crew. However, ironically, this is not the crew we're taking to Mars because I have basically failed in my first try. So we'll be using another new set of Kerbals. So Jed and Kerman, if I can remember. That's going to be our pilot and the one who lands at DUNA, which is Mars. Here I am adjusting my staging. You'll see the staging unfold when we launch. Just taking out the shroud because we already have this fairing covering us, so the shroud will just be extra weight. Now we are going for launch. As you can see, I am renaming the vessel so I can access it easier. As you can see, Jet and Kerman. And now I'm using the transfer window mod, and this mod is extremely useful because it basically plans when you should launch to your desired planet. And my desired planet in this case is DUNA. It's just very useful. It tells you what to do, at which point to burn, and how much to burn. And as I say that, we are launching in. I can see Jeden and Horrorwise Kerman really excited for this expedition to Mars. Here I'm just doing a gravity turn to go into Kerbin's orbit. Just to explain more about the transfer window, so you'll see me actually use it throughout because it's handy. Basically what this does is it gives you the time for your launch, which is the most fuel efficient. And yeah, here I am making a maneuver node to circularize my orbit. Kerbin's atmosphere is 70,000 meters, and what I'm aiming to do is 100,000 meters. That's my second stage. So the Mammoth stage has been decoupled. Now we are on the Rhino engines. We are circularizing, and it is done. The maneuver node is a success. So this is basically the mod. It tells me how to do my maneuver and what to do, like how much you have to burn prograde or retrograde. So as you can see, it gives me information. So 1057.3 for prograde, and that for normal. And I've setted my target, DUNA, and you would have seen for a flash that it was pretty close. Or like intercept with DUNA was pretty close. However, we weren't in its sphere of influence yet. And I'll be doing a correction burn. Now we are just completing the maneuver node that we have set it up with the help of the transfer window mod. The maneuver is a success. I'll just be warping out of Kerbin's sphere of influence. Now I'm just trying to, yeah, as you can see, the purple planet right there with the PE, that basically indicates that I am in DUNA's sphere of influence. And I will probably be conducting that maneuver node. And also another mod that I have installed that works perfectly with transfer window is alarm clock. And for this alarm clock, it just works as it says, an alarm clock. And it comes very handy because I can just set an alarm and the mod will automatically stop when I want it to. I think the default KSP doesn't allow you to do this. You just have to like warp to next maneuver or warp here, and that's not really handy. Yeah, if you are gonna play Kerbal Space Program, these are the two mods that are totally essential for me, at least. Okay, we are slowly approaching the intercept. Now I'm just making a maneuver node to make my periapsis as close as DUNA as possible. DUNA's atmosphere is 50,000 meters, so I have to be above that. But also, I don't want to be too far away, because otherwise, you know, when I try to dock, which is what I'll do, orbiter landing, orbiter lander, that's what my ship is. I don't really want to waste that much fuel for my lander to like go into orbit and dock with the main, the main ship. So right there, I was just limiting my thrust to 1, because that engine, the Rhino engine, is very powerful. And even with 1 thrust, my burn time is still 12 seconds. So yeah, that's very important that I do that. Otherwise, if I put it on full throttle, my burn time will probably be 0.1, which is totally uncontrollable. Yeah, I think I just sort of messed up a bit, so here's just a transition for me. I have aligned with the maneuver point, which is the blue marker right here on the nav ball. We are slowly approaching our target. Yeah, the periapsis is 82,000 meters, which is absolutely perfect. However, my trajectory close to DUNA is actually not perfect. It's slightly tilted towards a certain direction, so that's me correcting it with another maneuver node. As you can see, the ascending node is 0 degrees, and that's why I know my orbit is perfect. In this case, it's not really an orbit, but just a beginning to an orbit. As you can see, it's totally horizontal and is perpendicular with the planet. We are slowly getting there. I was just doing this by hand, actually. And now that we've done it, yeah, this was just me reverting to quick save because I'm doing this by hand. Now we've got 0.0. This is perfect. And now I'm just doing a maneuver node to circleize the orbit around DUNA. The periapsis and apoapsis probably around 80,000 meters. And we will be warping to that point with the Kerbal alarm clock mod. Yeah, I just love those 2 mods, man. An absolute help for me. I'm sorry if, like, the music is a bit weird. I've actually speeded up this video a lot, so that's why the music might be weird at some point, yeah. I am approaching the node, yeah, and now I'm completing my burn. The apoapsis and periapsis is swapping positions. And now I guess I'm good to go. Now what I do is I detach my lander from my orbiter. So just like the Apollo missions, they've got a lander which will go to the moon, and an orbiter that orbits around the moon. So Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong were on the lander going to the moon, and I think his name was Michael. Michael was on the command pod, like the orbiter. So yeah. I think you've just seen me separate the two ships, the lander and the orbiter, and now... Actually, maybe you haven't. I'm just fixing my orbit to be absolutely perfect. I'm just saving this, so if I do something wrong, I can still go back to this very situation. Now I think I'll just be detaching this rocket booster stage, and now that is detached, yeah, so I think I also messed up a little bit in my landing, so it might be not connected, but I've done the maneuver node, and now we are approaching it. And we are about to burn with the lander, I think. Yes, the lander. The periapsis is going down, so we are approaching DUNA atmosphere. As you can see, right now I am warping so that I will be under the atmosphere. So what KSP does, it automatically slows you down when you enter the atmosphere. So I was slowed down when I was at 50,000 meters. Now we just have to wait. So the two parachutes that I have is the drogue parachute and the normal parachute. So the drogue parachute is slightly smaller than the normal parachute, and it can basically launch at higher altitudes. So here are the drogue chutes, and slowly the normal chutes will be activated. And the orange ones are the normal parachutes. We are slowly landing. I have extended the landing legs. What I want is I want my surface speed to be around less than 5, or around 5. 5 is the maximum, otherwise the landing legs won't cope and the engines will be damaged. We have landing. That's like to the margin. So yeah, we have landed, and I think Jedin Kerman is very excited to be the first Kerbal on Mars. As Buzz Aldrin would have said, one small step for a Kerbin, but a giant leap for Kerbal kind. So yeah, it's just me trying to capture a thumbnail, a cool picture. So just adjusting the lightings by time warping to different times. And yeah, shortly we will see Jedin Kerman planting the NASA flag. And yes, we have planted the flag. And this is where I will be doing my screenshot. Just trying to capture a good view. That's Jedin Kerman posing right there, and that's my screenshot. That's gonna be in the thumbnail. And I think it's time to return home. Bye bye DUNA, says Jedin Kerman. I'm just using his EVA pack to go up. My ladder didn't really, go down enough, so I'll have to use EVA packs to ascend. It's just trial and error, and eventually I got it. Just saving on DUNA, so if I do any mistakes, which is most likely, I will do mistakes. So yeah, the next step is for me to do a rendezvous, and in doing rendezvous, it's basically aligning the ship so you can dock, which you'll see what it is. So it's here. I am just going into orbit. As you can see, I haven't retracted my landing legs because I think it just gives me a lot of balance. Otherwise, my ship will flip, which has happened. That's why I make a lot of quick saves. So the orange markers are the points where you are closest to your target, which that is not really close. At this point, I'm making a maneuver node to make my orbit just a good orbit. Yeah, so I think I try to make my ascending node probably 0. Or as close to 0 as possible. And that's my target position, I think, that I've got. Here is me completing the maneuver. And we have orbit. That's absolutely amazing. So the process of rendezvous is pretty complicated, but essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to line the ship up together. So you want the markers, the orange markers or the pink markers, to be very close. You'd see like the two orbits actually overlap each other, so there's going to be a point where one ship is below another and they will travel faster than the ship above, above, and they'll eventually swap places. And when they swap places, like the exact moment they swap places is where I want the intercept to be. Here I'm just trying to make the orange markers go together. Might take a bit of time. Yeah, I think the rendezvous is probably the most complicated part in this mission. Here's just me adjusting. I figured out that I had probably a too close of like a too similar orbit to my target, so as I said earlier, you basically need differences in orbits to make it work. Like I think before the orbit was too similar and no ship was too much below or higher than another ship, so it's hard to do actually a rendezvous. And now we are, I think, close to coming up with an intercept. Yeah, I think just requires a little bit of adjusting, also on the normal and radial. I think we are slowly getting there. As you can see, our separation is 2.4 kilometers. It's good for Jedin. His nice smile. He is delighted to return home. That's my alarm clock in use again. And we are executing the burn. That's the burn complete. We are heading towards our targets. Yeah, so the rendezvous and docking is what you need to do if you were to complete a orbiter lander mission, which I already explained is basically Apollo 11. You know, just the Apollo projects. They are lander orbiter. If you see at the bottom left corner is basically my distance, my closest distance to my target. So right now it is 1.02 kilometers. I want to reduce that. And now by just burning at different parts near retrograde, I will be trying to just like get my intersect down to just like as less as possible. So we are 500, 400, 300, 250 meters. Now I am using RCS. That's what RCS. It is vitally important in docking for me. It's way harder if you only, if you don't use RCS and you only use your rocket boosters to align it. RCS is absolutely good for me. Yeah, I think I'll be also using RCS to close it out, like just close the gap a lot. Now I'm just using my rocket boosters to yeah, my rocket boosters aren't great, I think, because we're too far off the target. I might have to time warp a little bit more. Here the RCS helped me a lot because I was actually, the prograde and retrograde was going to swap, meaning that I accelerated too much that I am moving away from the target. So I probably quick saved right there, and I probably messed up my rendezvous. But this is the part, the take where I successfully completed the rendezvous, but also the docking. So yeah, enjoy this. So my closest intersect is currently 200, and now descending to 100. Right now it's only 100 meters. Absolutely amazing. 83. I'll limit that thrust so I can, yeah, limiting the thrust will avoid big differences, so the intersect will just go up or down, not much compared to if I have a high thrust limiter. 15 meters, pretty good. And also we are approaching the target at 1.8 meters per second. It's an alright speed for now. I don't know why the intersect has gone. Wait, that's not the intersect, that's the apoapsis. My bad. The intersect is 13 meters, I guess. And what I am doing now is I'm trying to align the main ship with the lander ship, so like make their docking ports face each other. That's essentially what I'm trying to do. And you'll see me press that pink sign right there with a circle in the middle, and also, yeah, we are docking. So yeah, that's the docking and rendezvous done. Probably the hottest parts of the mission. Jet and Kerman is in the main ship, and we will discard this ship. We'll set that as target, and I'll burn retrograde, and hopefully it will land in Mars's. We'll just crash land in Mars safely. And again, we are using that transfer window mod to get us back home to Kerbin. I actually forgot to add this, what you are seeing right now. So the blue line and the blue lines and the green line, it's like the indicators show which angle is the best for you when you try to go to a place. So I think when I was going from Mars to Kerbin, the best angle was probably 34 degrees. And from going from DUNA to Kerbin, it's minus 76.24. As you might have seen, so the first time round that I went, we didn't stop there because the mod thinks that there is a better place to stop that will save us fuel, a lot of fuel, I think. It quite possibly could be this approaching situation right now. And we're doing that thing that the mod has given us, so they just tell us how to burn. So in this case it's 648.1 for prograde and whatever for normal. And we have our intersect. A close intersect, but not really. We haven't gone into the sphere of influence of Kerbin. We'll have to do a correction burn for that to happen. this is me doing my maneuver node. A very good use of the alarm clock again. And now we are conducting this burn. I think the atomic rocket is probably less powerful, but it's still efficient compared to other rockets that we have. So the burn time is quite long compared to what we've used before. This is actually on 100 thrust limiter, so yeah, it's not that, you know, powerful of a rocket, but I think it is efficient. We have completed our maneuver. I think I'll just probably warp. Yeah, I'll warp until we get out of DUNA's sphere of influence and start to approach Kerbal. And now a maneuver to go into Kerbal's sphere of influence. Now I'm just adjusting that maneuver. First of all, quick save in case I do something wrong. Adjusting that maneuver so the periapsis lines up good. I think what we want is probably 100,000 meters for the periapsis, and we also want to make our trajectory like not slightly tilted up or down. So there's me adjusting normal and anti-normal. That's a bit too much. 36. I think I actually, in one take, I actually forgot to orbit Kerbal because I was just probably fatigued by probably a 2 hour or 1 hour, almost 2 hour just play of the game. So I just totally forgot to go into Kerbal's orbit before descending down. But that's not going to be in the video. I've probably cutted it. Yeah, so as I explained. Here, I didn't know why my node was a little bit messed up. So I just deleted it and created a brand new node. Yeah, I think that was me trying to increase the periapsis. As you can see, it is now 99,000 meters. Before it was 2,000, which I cannot make an orbit out of that. It will just go straight into Kerbal. That's a use of the alarm clock, and we will be completing our maneuver. We are done. Periapsis of 100,000, and now I'm making a maneuver node to circleize Kerbal. Now here comes the use of the alarm clock again. Yeah, for those of you who want to play KSP, these two mods are essential. I just recommend you to get it. So the burn time, as you would have seen, I think it was 5 minutes at the start. And that's probably because of the atomic booster rocket, It's not as powerful, but I do think that it's efficient. I think its selling point is probably its efficiency. Might not be powerful, but it is efficient. So what you will see is me not using a lot of the fuel. I'll have like leftover fuel. You know, that's just for safety reasons, in case, like, I don't want to run out of fuel and not be able to do anything about it. So I've just packed in extra fuel. You know, like, the Rhino stage, the Rhino booster stage, should have actually ended when I made my orbit on Kerbin, but it lived a little bit longer, so I was able to use that to go to DUNA. And now we've got extra fuel for this atomic booster. Atomic nerve, I think. Yeah, that was what it was called. In my descent to Kerbin, my periapsis will be low, but, like, I don't want my periapsis to be inside Kerbin, because if I did that, I wouldn't have a lot of air that, you know, slows me down. I'll just be going. Yeah, so basically what I want for descending down to Kerbin is I want a lot of air to slow me down. And that can be achieved when you do probably a long orbit. And that's me decoupling myself from the engine. So now we only have the command pod. That is a heat shield, the sort of brown thing you see under there. Now it's glowing red. We are approaching the atmosphere. The atmosphere of Kerbin is 70,000 meters. And those are some flames. The heat shield is protecting the command pod a lot. Now we don't really have flame. We've deployed the parachutes. And we've landed. Jed and Kerman, Harwise Kerman, and another Kerbal has successfully gone to Mars and back. Thank you for watching this video. Just a time warp and just a look around the command pod.